You have to be careful.
All right, y'all.
All right, I'll tell you something right before we get started.
Okay, go ahead. Come on. I'm live, but go ahead.
All right. In this, just to follow up on what you were saying in the last class, here in 31:16.
Yeah.
Here it's saying that the strangers are, when they say strangers over here, the harlot after the gods of the strangers. They're talking about those kind of gods. They don't say Ger there.
They don't say Ger there.
They say Nokri.
They say Nokri, just like we
So
said.
would the other kind of with Ger not have a different god?
Yeah, apparently.
So the Ger got the same god.
Apparently. All right, I'll give y'all a few seconds to maybe go get a drink of water. We're only going to do a little short time here. You know,
Let's just hit the good stuff.
we're going to get to the good stuff. That was just Peshat. We're going to Genesis 38 if anybody wants to check that out.
Where's Genesis?
Genesis 38, Breshit.
Are we back in the cabin?
We're back rolling. Uh-oh.
Well, I said my stuff noise on the camera.
I was going to say, I think that's why so many converts are mad.
Well,
Because they think that...
Well, I think the reason so many of them are mad is because there is a faction of Jews that treat them like lesser citizens.
Right.
You know, and they're just transferring that down.
They should be treating us like lesser citizens.
And so they figure we're going to treat them like lesser
And then you
citizens.
got
Don't treat the one that
go
convert does all the conversion and goes through all that stuff, and it has to do everything that is bound to it. Don't treat them like lesser person.
Right.
You can treat me like a lesser
Right,
person.
right.
That's
Treat me like you want to treat them, but treat them like a Jew.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I treat them like a Jew. I don't treat them like you're just a Ger Tzedek. You're just like I am. You know what I mean? I know I'm not like that. I don't do half the stuff they do.
And then some of them go, well, why did I...
But
why-
they do
why am I doing
everything that
this?
Jew does.
But they do everything the Jew does. But then they'll say, well, you can't do Passover, and there's no Ger Toshah of the Jubilee. Well, you know what? Then you're not a Ger Tzedek because you ain't brought a korban. So that argument's moot right there. The argument's moot right
I
there.
think this needs to be circulated in every synagogue.
It's just moot right there. All right, so let's learn something cool. How about that? Now, if you notice, right here in the middle of this parsha, we have everything about Joseph. And Joseph is going down to Egypt, and y'all can go through and read the story. I have put on Facebook Metatron and Hanukkah, which is the entire sewed story of Joseph. Okay? You can watch it, and it tells you everything. That Joseph is the secret of Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the festival of lights, right? Hanukkah comes from the word Hanuk, which comes from the word Enoch, which Enoch is Metatron. Why is it 8 kings? Why is it 8 candles? Because in Nekodim, you have the shattering of the 7 kings of Edom, and Berudim is the 8th king. That is the secret of Hanukkah. It's primordial. Don't let anybody tell you what ain't in the Torah. It was before the Torah. Okay? So, it was before the Torah we have. There's nothing before Torah, but you know what? Torah A.
Are we on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is he's going down. Joseph is going down to pull out the 7 wisdoms, which fell out of the 7 Sphirot, and it's the 7 Chokmas. This is the Greek knowledge, that whole thing. Okay. Right in the middle of Joseph's story, boom, is Judah and Tamar. All right, which is really weird, and then it just picks up, and keeps going. Okay, why is that so? Because we're talking about the twin messiahs, Messiah ben Joseph, Messiah ben David. Twin messiahs back in the Gan, Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau. Er and Onan, Perez and Zerach. Boom, 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 boom. All the way down. But
You're not on that camera.
that's okay. So, with Judah and Tamar, what about the ger in the story? There's got to be a ger. Without ger, there's no noga. Without no noga, there's no extraction. So, let's search the Torah out and see what it has to say. It says in 38, it was at the time Judah went down from his brothers and turned away toward an Adulamite man whose name was Hirah. There Judah saw the daughter of a prominent merchant whose name was Shua. He married her and consorted with her. Let's stop right there. Who is this Adulamite? His name is Hirah. We know from our teachings and the Gemara that Hirah is none other than Hiram. Hiram is with Solomon. Hiram was David's best bud. They were really great friends. And David's other really great friend was Arona. Both of them, Ger. Not Ger Tzedek. Just Ger. Right? So, Ger Tzedek in the conversion sense. They're Ger Toshavs. So, why is Judah going down from his brothers and turning toward an Adulamite man named Hirah? And then seeing a daughter of a Canaanite. What's going on? Because they sent Joseph, Messiah ben Joseph, down, Messiah ben David has to go down as well. These are the twin Messiahs. Messiah ben Joseph is going into Egypt. Messiah ben David is going into Canaan. Now, what is at the edge of this? Noga. What's the name of this Noga? Hirah. So, he marries a Canaanite. What would possess Judah to marry a non-Jew?
All the patriarchs did it.
All the patriarchs did it, Ed. Excellent. Why would all the patriarchs do that? Because they know something in Torah.
Well, especially all the patriarchs and stuff that were bringing in the line of Mashiach.
Well, yeah. And they know that since the fall happened, there's a concept in Torah that says the klipa precedes the fruit. And the only way to get rid of klipa is to put the klipa in the klipa. You got to feed the klipa. So, Abraham's first son is with Hagar so that he could get rid of the contamination of the fall, so that Isaac, the Kedusha, the holiness, could come through Sarah, and her first son was his second son, but it was the first son, it was the spiritual son. You think Judah knows this? Of course he does. Because the klipa always precedes the fruit. So, he's getting rid of the klipa. So she conceived and had a son named She conceived again and called his son Onan. He must have been a generator. Onan generator. Mm-hmm. And yet again she bore a son and called his name Selah. And it was in Chezib where she bore him. So here is the right, left, center. Ham, Shem, Japheth. Backside. Right? Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Hashem. And Hashem caused him to die. He was having rear intercourse and emitting seed. Now, why did do this, and why did Onan do what he did? Why did they do that? We have to tell ourselves they knew what they were doing.
Well, one of the Mattlage says that it's because their wives were so beautiful they didn't want to.
They didn't want to spoil her
spoil
beauty.
their beauty.
So they didn't want to get pregnant and spoil her beauty. They wanted to preserve her beauty. One of the reasons.
Okay. Also, they know that they are contaminated. If they injected their contamination, they would spoil her beauty. Mm-hmm. Not what they're saying. It's not what it says. It's what they're saying. All right? Yeah. He didn't want to contaminate her. He knew he was the Klippa. And through the process of Gilgalim, it would be rectified. So basically, he took one for the team. Because he knows who Tamar is. Why is Tamar so beautiful? She's none other than
Esther?
No. Back to the garden.
Hava.
She's Hava. She's the Shekhinah. All right? She knows who she is. They know who she is. Jordan, is he still here?
Yeah.
Call your brother and tell him quit calling me. Now, but Onan knew that the seed would not be his. So it was that whatever he consorted with his brother's wife, he would not let it go to waste on the ground to provide offspring to his brother. Did what evil's eyes, and so he killed him. 11. Then Judah said to Tamar, daughter-in-law, remain a widow in your father's house until my son Selah grows up. For he thought, lest he also die like his brother. So Tamar went out and lived in her father's house. Now, Tamar is Jewish. And she studied in the tents of Shem and Aver. And Rebecca used to teach her. And they're the ones that told her what was going on. Ravali says that she operated in Ruach HaKodesh. She was a prophetess. So, many days passed after Shua's daughter and the wife of Judah died. When Judah was consoled, he went up to the overseers of his shepherds, he and his Ger buddy, the Adulamite friend, Hirah, to Timnah. Timnah. Now, Timnah is, we're going to find, there's a deal in here called the crossroads. The crossroads is the Shekhinah, we're going to find. But the crossroads is a bifurcation. Right? One road leads to Timnah. Timnah married Esau's son and the progenitor of Amalekites. And Timunah means basically seeing the face of God. Behold the face. All right? So, he's got a choice. And Tamar is going to sit right at that intersection. She's going to direct the traffic because she knows Judah's on a mission. She knows she's on a mission. This is cosmic work of Messiah ben David. Why is Hiram there? Hiram, who's Hirah, who's completely through Torah. From Nebuchadnezzar to Solomon to right here in Judah. And the Maharal of Prague says Hirah is none other than Og. And Og is none other than Eleazar.
It's Og that's everywhere.
It's none other than Eleazar. So we know who's sitting here, the Ger, the Noga, that's facilitating the entire thing. And Og is king of Bashan out there with Moses. Right? So the plot's getting thick. Because you cannot extract the sparks from down deep in the Tohu without the Noga of the Ger. It doesn't happen. It cannot happen. So every time he needs something, Hirah was there. Hirah is Hiram. He's David's best buddy. He knows that they're friction. He's trying to save his buddy. It's going to extract his buddy way down the road. Because you got to understand where they're working, time doesn't matter. This is interdimensional cosmic tikkun. All right? So, I'm just giving you the highlights here, then we'll go through volley. Tamar was told as follows, behold, your father-in-law is coming up to Timnah to shear sheep. She removed her widow's garb and took upon herself a veil. She wrapped herself up, then sat at the crossroads on which the road toward Timnah. For she saw Selah had grown, and she had not been able to give him a wife. So when Judah saw her, he thought she may be a harlot. This word here used is Zonah. Harlot, Zonah. Since she had covered her face. So he detoured to her by the road and said, come, if you please, let me consort with you. For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what will you give me to consort with me? He replied, I will send you a kid of goats from the flock. She said, provide you leave me a pledge until you send it. And he said, what pledge shall I give you? Signet ring, wrap, and staff. Remember, Joseph used to dress up and makeup and hair and all pretty like the Egyptians because he was preparing the vessel to be command of Egypt. All right? And she was getting the staff, the signet ring, and the wrap, because she was creating the vessel for the kingship. She knew what she was doing. So that's why if the stupidity of there's no ger till Jubilee is just stupid. Because you prepare the vessel, then it happens. Right. That's the way Torah works. So, she knows what she's doing. Now, and so he sent this through the friend, the Adulamite, to retrieve the pledge from the woman, but he did not find her. He inquired of the people about her place. Where is the prostitute? But here, it's not written Zonah, it's written Kadesha. She's he goes, the one at the crossroad by the road. Why does it have to say the crossroad road? Because the crossroad is a naim, which is the eyes of the path, which is the Shekhinah that directs their path. And then again, we see there was no prostitute, no Kadesha. Again, we see there's no prostitute, no Kadesha. Kadesha is like Kedusha. Kedusha 3 times. Kedusha, Kedusha, Kedusha. Holy, holy, holy. The burning angels of Zivug. Right here. Okay? Now. And of course, twin messiahs, Perez and Zerach, at the end of the story. So real quick, I just got one little page here. Judah's descent is complete. He had went into business with this Adulamite. What is the business? Spark extraction. Because he is beneath his stature of wisdom. The opposite had occurred to Joseph. He was sold as a slave. But Joseph went from the lowest to the highest. And he turned toward the Adulamite. Why does the verse have to say his name? To allude to the lowest level of depth of negativity that Judah had went to. To inform you that the Holy One pays back measure for measure. You sent what you did to Joseph, guess what? I'm sending you to the bottom of the rung.
Well, the same thing happened. Joseph was put away from his brothers, so therefore he was put away from his brothers when he left them.
Right.
He separated himself from his brothers and went to the Dulamite and to do business with him instead of staying with his brothers.
Right.
Same thing with Joseph.
But he knows what he's got to go do. The Adulamite knows what he's got to do. Onan and Er know what they have to do. Tamar knows what she has to do. And Perez and Zerah know who they are. Progenitors of David, Amalek. Now, thus caused a descent to himself, and he married the Canaanite, similar to Abraham and Hagar, where he is getting the klipa out. All right? Why does it say the word Kadesha? The Torah has two words for prostitute here, but a Torah will never use it to mean the same thing. The Torah does not work like that. The Maharal of Prague says that Hirah is Og. Hiram, king of Tyre, was always the friend of David. And because Hirah was the friend of Judah, you see how the math works. And we see that how do we know that Tamar is ascending levels? At first, they are saying harlot, Zona, and then they're saying Kadesha, Kadesha, Kadesha. All right? So he went to Zona, he went to the lowest level because of her intent of what she was going to do, she started becoming elevated. She is called. It is this term at the path, like Derek, the way, the path. She was the one directing the path back up. That was Tamar's thing. She's fixing to pull Judah out of the lower rungs of dimensionality.
She's elevating.
Why does she knows what's going on with and Onan, and she is not really even letting them have union with her in the proper way because she's a prophetess. She sees that their souls are trapped by Lilith and the Klipa. And she doesn't want anything to do with it. Therefore, she knows that they can only continue through Gilgal in transgression. So, she's on top of things. So, you have to trick the other side. What looks like Judah lying with a prostitute and the brothers getting killed for something that they really didn't do, like you hear in the Sunday school version, Judah's such a terrible dude. No, they were tricking the other side.
Right, same as Rahab and Ruth and
all of them. She knew one thing. Well, she knew many things, but she knew this one thing. She knew the Malach of Judah. She knew the angel of Judah, and the angel of Judah and his lust. She knew it would work for her for the sake of heaven. Because the Torah says, it is better to do a transgression for the sake of heaven than a mitzvah not for the sake of heaven. Therefore, she had the help of the Shekhinah, which is the secret of the crossroads along the way. All the eyes are dependent upon her because they receive from her. That's why the crossroads is called a naim, the eyes. The secret of Timnah, the root of Timunah. When you go down this path, the image of God will you see. And who was sitting at the crossroads? Tamar. The Shekhinah. The Midrash says this crossroads is the opening of Abraham. The gate of that level. It allows the Hesed to descend and mitigate the dinning of the other Timnah. Of Timunah versus Timnah, right? This is what Tamar knows. She is drawing down the Hesed, and her intent is to redeem all the souls that are trapped, including Er and Onan. She covers her face and sits at the Shekhinah because she is the Shekhinah. And so this whole thing was orchestrated. One view from Judah, one side from the boys, one side from her. They're all working and knowing what they're doing.
That's a whole intersection.
And what comes out of this tikkun that they're all making will eventually become Messiah. Just like Lot and his daughters, they all know what they're doing. So the Torah is amazing. The sages are amazing. Next week, we'll do a little piece of Hanukkah. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks after that. I am going to take my computer and try to post stuff. I won't have class the last 2 weeks of December, but we will have class next week. But I'll try to keep some Torah going out for everybody. I want to do a little bit of Hanukkah because Hanukkah's so gay, you got to do it, you know. And then we'll get back on inner space. I promise, because we're going to finish that. But we got to weave Torah in along the way. So the Torah is amazing. Sages are amazing. See y'all next week, everybody.
I mean.
Bye.